So this is a quick way of hanging a door. It's not the proper way, and you have to have thought about it beforehand in order to do it. I.e., the size of the opening has to be pretty much almost exactly the right size for the door. So when I made these openings in the stud partitioning, I made sure they're just a tiny bit smaller than the doors I was getting. Normally, when you have a door, they'll specify a maximum amount you can trim off each side. So you're meant to trim an equal amount off both sides up to a certain depth. If you look on the top of here, you'll see that if you chisel off too much, in some doors you'll get into chipboardy type material, which looks terrible, and so you have a thin sort of strip here of proper wood, and then after that you'll have chipboard. So you can't go trimming off massive amounts off the edges. But these are solid pine doors, so you can get away with a bit more. I always get a solid pine door for that reason, because if you over trim, then you won't end up in sort of a hollow interior, which you would with a lot of doors. These are solid all the way through, albeit slightly different coloured pine, but it's still just about passable. So the method we're going to use is just trimming one side of the door, which speeds things up by about 10 minutes. And we're going to cut off, rather than planing off a thin amount on each side, we're just going to cut off about 6 or 8 mil of material on one side using a circular saw. We'll then use a surface latch mount, which just goes over the top rather than having to chisel it in. And instead of chiseling our hinges and rebating them in here, we'll just mount them flat on the surface. And so that's our quick way of mounting a door, which if a builder or carpenter did it for you, you'd probably be a bit disappointed. But if you just want to get your door up and working, then why not follow this method? Anyway, we'll do the first bit and then we'll video again in a minute. Okay, so what I've done, I've lined this edge up, which we're going to keep uncut, with this side of the door lining. Come on, focus, that's it. And then we're going to trim the top because it's a tiny bit too tall. So how I do that, I just lay the pencil flat against the door lining like this, and just make the line along like this, and then the same down the side. Lay it flat on the door lining, the pencil, and then make your line down here. So you're cutting about 5 mil in from the edge of the door lining, and the same on the top. So when in a minute we screw the hinges up and put this side reasonably tight to the door lining, then we'll have about 2 or 3 mil all the way around, and the door should open and close without rubbing. So once you've marked it up, you cut your door down here, circular saw or a hand saw, not a jigsaw, because you won't get a very straight cut. You'll probably get a few burrs, so give that a quick sand. And then bring it inside the door and just check, I've already hung this now, but just check that it fits in the hole properly. You should have a sort of 2-3 mil gap all the way around. And then what you do then, you make some jams. These bit of woods here called door jams, which I think is spelt with a B after the M. These are just 1 centimetre strips I've cut off the edge of a scaffolding board. And then we really start to get going on the shortcuts then. So normally you don't mount a hinge like this. You chisel out a little bit of the door and a little bit of the door lining, and then the hinge will fit in closed inside here, so just this barrel is showing on the edge. So if you do that with both hinges, that's really quick to do. Before you screw those on, all you do is you take the door at the bottom and you just rest it on some doubled over corrugated cardboard and act as a spacer. Okay. And as you can see, you're looking for a kind of fairly equal gap all the way around. Okay, and then surface latch instead of a rebated latch. A normal latch you get on a joiner who do a proper job, or a chippy,
they'll chisel out a section of the door and they'll actually slot in like this. That's quite a skillful job to do that, and very time consuming. So all you do is put the surface latch on instead, and then you're done. So all in all, to fit this door took about 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. And I expect it to function quite well for many years. And provided you're not bothered on how things look, it's perfectly adequate. Anyway, there you go. I hope you found that useful. Remember, it's probably better to do something, you know, badly, provided it's functional, and then you've just managed to get on with it and get it finished, which I see as a good thing to do. So I hope you found that useful. Cheerio, thanks, bye.